It's time for the main event. It's the Shoeshine.
No, they want to see me doing bad, but I'm good.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that Monday night boxing recap known as the Shoeshine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Fly Eagles, Drew Evo, ¿Qué pasa?
Best team in football.
Oh, congratulations to you. I watched your game, man. I had fun watching the Philadelphia Eagles. There was 2 Monday Night Football games, and the football, hey, man, I'm having a really good time now, even though the Niners season is shot. Shout out to your team, and shout out to all those Chiefs fans who were crying that Patrick Mahomes finally got injured. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm sure he'll be ready for the playoffs. I'm sure of it.
And the refs getting ready to give him calls.
Hey, shout out to everybody joining us in the chat. Feel free to share this on your socials and make sure you hit that like button as you come in. Drew, I tried to be funny right now. Shout out to Wile E. Coyote. He's got it. But upset of the year, upset of the decade, upset of the millennium, whatever you want to say, boxing is the theater of the unexpected, as famous. Who said that quote? The theater of the unexpected. Right before the fight, Drew, I was, having drinks, doing my little Saturday night pre-fight party. Had some Mexican food, had some drinks. And I was, had to eat crow because I was making fun of Bruno Suraci. I couldn't even spell the guy's name right, but, it's such a strange resemblance on Saturday night. And Wile E. Coyote instantly got it. He said it's mango. Yeah. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Yeah, it's a strange resemblance to him. But, man, shout out to, French club fighter, 25-0, 4 knockouts. I was making fun of him, right? But you know what? This is why we watch boxing, because at any given moment, a star like Jaime Munguia can get upset by a random nobody from across the world. They're a French club fighter who, incidentally, Drew, I had looked up his box rec, and you guys could go check out his box rec, but he struggled. Like I said, he only had 4 knockouts. And Bruno Suraci had fought a guy recently in the past 2 years who was 5 wins and 23 losses. Okay, that was a decision win. Baptiste Castaneda, 11 and 22. Also fought a guy named Artem Karasev, 15 and 39. This is the epitome of a French club fighter who even fought in restaurants. Some of these locations were restaurants, Drew. Jaime Munguia's homecoming party in Tijuana. Homecoming, stay busy. Hey, man, I'm not going to take the vacation. I'm not taking Christmas off. I'm going to fight for the fans in Tijuana in a stadium, outdoors. I'm going to show you guys my skills, my combinations. I'm going to reset. Well, not really. I'm going to show you some great defense. Not really. I'm going to get countered and knocked out by a guy with 4 knockouts. Whoa, it happened. Shout out to Carlos. Yeah. Anybody else again, man? It's just like I kept watching the fight and I kept thinking as he's winning.
Oh, Dave. This guy wants to know what we're yapping about. Should we let him in what we're yapping about?
Yeah, of course. What are we yapping about? We're yapping about boxing, guys. This is the Shoeshine, the Monday Night Boxing Recap. If you're new to it.
I'll tell you what we're yapping about. We're yapping about how I made his girl scream God last night.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Shout out to Policy Genius. He's new. He says Jake Paul's the greatest of all time. It's funny that you bring up Jake Paul, and we're going to get back to our main point. You saw the thumbnail, but Drew, there was some type of thing done for the 10 most Googled athletes of 2024, and Jake Paul made the list. Strangely, Brandon Ayuk of the 49ers was number 10, but Mike Tyson and Jake Paul both making the top 10 list of most researched according to Google's athletes in the world. Not highest paid, but most researched. You know, Mike Tyson up to? What's Jake Paul up to? So shout out to all those people. Shout out to anybody new in the chat. Appreciate y'all. All right, Drew, we can get into some of the fights beforehand. We can get into the Raul Corrales versus Alexis Rocha in the welterweight division. That's, it was a great fight. But let's talk about what went wrong. Let's get right to the meat and potatoes. Jaime Munguia, incident right before that fight, a lot of people were complaining ESPN was putting on kind of a shitty card. They had a swing fight, a swing bout, just a couple of guys ready to fight. I don't know what was going on, if they weren't ready or they didn't anticipate the start time correctly. But the actual card to me was not very good, not very well put together. There is a fighter on there, David Picasso, featherweight contender, also a super bantamweight contender. This dude is badass. I've been watching that guy from Mexico City. David Picasso was on before the swing bout. So keep your eyes on him at featherweight. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're even talking about potentially having Inoue fight the guy, which is a big deal to be brought up in the same conversation with Inoue. And we're going to get to some Inoue news, because if you guys were looking forward to watching him fight, he ain't going to fight in Christmas. And if you're a big fan of Ryan Garcia, God, I hope not, but you're not going to get to see Ryan Garcia fight either in Japan for Christmas. That's all coming up in our news segment. But Bruno Suraci, 168-pound unknown. After the fight, they interview him and he says, I'm a middleweight. Well, he said it in French probably. I don't know if they had a translator, but he says, I'm a middleweight. Obviously now, Jaime Munguia is in a strange place where, people are going to looking for a rematch, and they're going to want to see you knock out the guy that knocked you out next, when he probably had bigger plans. In fact, Edgar Berlanga said, damn, bro, you really, I think he said on Twitter, he said, you really fucked up and fumbled the bag, Jaime. You really fucked that up. I guess he had plans to fight Jaime later in 2025, but because Jaime got his ass beat so bad or knocked out so bad, now that fight's in jeopardy. What do you do in Jaime Munguia's shoes, and how did Bruno Suraci pull this off?
How? And I don't know. I'll tell you what happened. Jaime Munguia, early in his career, until this past year, was a horrible defensive fighter. He took shots to get shots, and it finally caught up with him. And another thing is, the guy caught him perfectly on the chin. I don't care if you have 4 knockouts or 38 knockouts. You get caught in the chin in the right spot, you're going down or you're hurting. Like, I think him being through these battles, taking so many shots, did him, and his chin finally gave out on him. And unfortunately, it was to a guy that had 4 knockouts. That came up from middleweight. So, if we're gonna look at this, Jaime Munguia's stock is falling, and it looks like Jaime Munguia, we may not hear from him for a while when it comes to a big fight.
Oh, it's a major step back. Let's talk about that. Now he's got a big step backwards. Meanwhile, you've got Edgar Berlanga, who also fought Canelo Alvarez this year. Is this a step backwards for Edgar Berlanga? This fight is official. We finally know who he's going to fight in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Berlanga versus Philadelphia's Rosado.
Yes.
Once upon a time, Gabe Rosado was a good fight.
It's a huge step back. Gabe Rosado is 3/4 of the way out the door.
He's already a commentator. He's working as a commentator too.
Let's just say right now, Edgar Berlanga talks so much shit about Caleb Plant and you ducked him. Edgar Berlanga has officially ducked Caleb Plant. I put it on there on Twitter. I even tagged Caleb Plant. Caleb, he's ducked you. Fuck Edgar Berlanga. He ducked you. He won an easy fight. I'm sorry, Gabe Rosado. I'm a big fan of yours, man, but you're out the door already, man. You got 16 losses, man. Like, do you, man? Do your career, man. You want to go out against this dude? Against this bum? Man.
Yeah, I know that you and I talked after the fight, and I was thinking, we were joking. I'm like, well, won't that be some shit if Gabe Rosado comes up with the same exact upset win inside? Supposed to be Edgar Berlanga's homecoming fight, supposed to be a showcase fight of the younger fighters' talents, and Gabe Rosado comes up. Now, he did the same. Gabe Rosado did come up with that massive upset when he knocked out undefeated, what's his name?
Beck the Bully.
Beck the Bully. So, I mean, it's not entirely impossible, but age is catching up to Gabe Rosado. He's been in way too many rough wars. I'm glad you brought up this point about Jaime Munguia because, Drew, most of us here that have been following the sport of boxing know that he's a very athletically gifted Mexican fighter, and he has high output. He's always been offense-minded first, but defense is severely lacking. And he just got caught after he was able to drop Bruno Sirachi in the earlier part of that fight. His defense just went to shit. It was like he stopped respecting the guy. You know, maybe it was in his head. The guy's only got 4 knockouts. He's not going to really hurt me. But one thing Bruno Sirachi was successfully doing was countering after most of Jaime's combinations. It was like he knew that Jaime was not going to reset or he was going to have an issue with his guard. And you would see Bruno Sirachi rounds 3 and 4 doing some work and staying in the fight. Much like Edgar Berlanga versus Canelo Alvarez, he was still keeping himself in the fight even though he was losing every round. It was almost like he was beginning to time him closer and closer to executing the perfect 1-2. He actually, the punch that landed flush was a right hand that was perfectly timed, man. He just waited for Jaime Munguia to be off balance. His guard was down and his jaw was right there for the pickings. Just perfect, man. So Bruno Sirachi was thinking the whole time, yeah, maybe he's a club fighter, never really fought outside of France, but man, he was picking up on that, and maybe he's been watching Jaime Munguia for years, right?
It looks like this. Before he got the shot, he got nailed with the shot. His guard was down. That whole side was open the whole time, and he was like keeping tabs on it for the right time to throw that punch, to throw that counter hook, and everything, just to go at him. And he did it, and then he just nailed him. So, you know.
Hey, Carlos in the chat brings up a good point. It was a fast count. That was kind of strange how quickly the referee was counting to me, especially in Mexico, especially in light of recent losses by Tim Tszyu is a perfect example of an in-house fighter for PBC where when he lost to the actual champion recently, those counts were extremely long. And then they get to dial, let me go check you out. Is everything okay? All right, let's resume the action. And a whole fucking minute had literally gone through that 10 count. It was a fast count, but he was in no condition. I think it's pretty obvious you watch the replay. He really wasn't in any condition to get back into the fight, but you never know. I mean, when he can take a lot of punches, maybe he could have got himself back in the fight. To be honest, I don't know. He wasn't in any condition to continue, but I've seen a lot of fighters in no condition to continue, including Devin Haney. Shit, that dude was in no condition to continue, and he made the final bell with Ryan Garcia. He made all final 12. So that was a little bit shocking.
Well, here's the question, Dave. In your opinion, would he had survived the fight if they let him continue in that motion?
Anybody in the chat know how much time was left on the clock when he got dropped? Would he have survived the fight? I think he would have. I think he was badly hurt.
I think there was another minute and a half left.
I think he very well could have survived if he did some wise veteran tactics. But there's a long list of fights where Jaime Munguia came up either on the winning end when he should have been a loss. And one of the most famous ones to me, one of my favorite ones to really first time I noticed, all right, man, Jaime Munguia's got a lot of problems technically. He's very exciting. He's an all-action fighter. You and I debated this, but what's his name? Hogan from Australia? When Hogan, or was he a UK fighter? But Hogan went to Guadalajara, Mexico. Jaime Munguia had just started building a success in America with Golden Boy. And they're like, let's take Jaime to Mexico. And they got this guy, Hogan. And I'll be damned if Hogan didn't outbox Jaime Munguia and should have gotten the nod. But again, he's in Mexico in the guy's backyard. And he came up on the short end of that decision. But that was just one of the first inklings. Then you've got great fights like Derevchenko. He was losing that fight. Jaime Munguia was going to probably lose that fight if he didn't rally back in the 12th round. But he took a lot of punishment in that fight, and he's taking a lot of punishment in a shitload of fights, right?
Yeah, he is. Like, he took punishment in the Canelo fight. And I got to ask this question about the Canelo fight and everything. Did he take it easy on Munguia? Yeah, he might have. Probably didn't want to did he want to knock him out? He didn't want to knock him out. They was asked, did you think he didn't want to knock him out because he liked him? I was like, it's not that he liked him and everything. Maybe he couldn't knock him out. Maybe this was the last straw of him being able to take shots and everything. Like, it's just built. He's not built to take these shots anymore.
That was actually the first time Jaime Munguia tasted the canvas in his professional career, one with over 40 fights, and he's under the age of 30, was when Canelo floored him with an uppercut he didn't see coming. And now he eats a right hand from a fighter with 4 knockouts, and it's lights out, essentially. I think going forward, Jaime Munguia's chin is absolutely going to be an issue against heavy punchers. And it might be a good thing. There might be a silver lining to this because he was supposed to be ready. They were going to order a fight between him and Christian and Billy, who hits hard and throws a lot of punches. And if he had won this fight, I mean, he was probably just going to get really hurt badly by Christian and Billy. Am I right or wrong, Drew?
You're right. Like, I look at it like this. Christian and Billy, now we can look at this fight potentially, if it was to get made. I think Billy would knock him out now.
Yeah, and that fight's now going to take a back seat. Now all of a sudden we have this unknown guy, Bruno Suraci, who I hope Top Rank is going to make the rematch with Jaime Munguia. I don't even know if it's in his best interest to take a rematch like that. What if he loses again to the guy? I mean, it might just be one of those things where you just move on and maybe later on in your career when Bruno Suraci's washed up, it could have been a fluke. It could have been a perfectly placed, perfectly timed shot. And, you know, I don't know who Bruno Suraci is going to get a fight with, but there's a lot of guys at 168 now that he's knocked out him that'll love to fight him. Can you think of a few?
Billy.
That'd be a French.
Pacheco.
Yeah, that guy's a free agent. He's free to go, man. He's not signed by any of these. Like, he's not signed by Matchroom. You're right. Diego Pacheco.
William Scraw.
A lot of guys. Yeah, well, shout out to, again, if you guys didn't see, I was trying to make light of the situation. Make fun, but, I mean, odd resemblance, in my opinion, to Mango. All right, guys, that was the ESPN card. It was, it has to be easily the upset of the year. Maybe a contender for knockout of the year, but again, there was, of course, another fight. Obviously, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, put on a pretty decent card in California, headlined by Alexis Rocha, who's got 2 losses, an undefeated Mexican Olympian, Raul Corrales. On that was a women's fight. I think the women's fight, what was the drama with that? I think she was overweight. Esparza came in overweight. That's about all the drama. Nothing really too interesting in that fight. Scrappy Ramirez and Charles Conwell. Drew. Scrappy Ramirez is a guy who came into the fight game very late and walked into Freddie Roach's gym and went from being, I guess he played high school football, and obviously he's a very small fighter at 112, but he was an outstanding football player and turned professional boxer. And the guy he was fighting, Bowie, I think he's half Asian or Asian American. That kid won like 3 national golden gloves. So actually, shout out to Bowie for being in there with somebody with a fairly good professional resume. But man, that guy Scrappy Ramirez had to come away with a win, and that was actually a very exciting fight. Charles Conwell, 154-pound fighter. I just seen him fight in Las Vegas. Charles Conwell, obviously, he was in that ring with Patrick O'Day. I hope I get his name correct, guys. Patrick O'Day passed away in the ring. Charles Conwell took a long pause on his career. Now he's with Golden Boy, and he's been knocking everybody the F out, Drew. That 154-pound division is stacked.
Dave, let's go back. Let's rewind that. You can't say F. You got to say fuck. Come on now. You're disappointing me on Monday night, Dave.
Where's everybody at? Excuse me. I'm trying to be clean today. I'm trying to be clean.
Where the fuck is everybody at?
There's 22 of you guys. Appreciate 22 of you and 23 likes. Don't forget to hit that like button. But Charles Conwell, the 154-pound division, he's with the same team as Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is going to fight Madrimov. Bohacek is fighting this Saturday. I don't even know the name of his opponent. It's on my phone, but Bohacek will fight, guys. He is the co-main. Charles Conwell wants to be in that conversation. He's undefeated. He can box. He can punch. He said, give me Virgil fucking Ortiz. I want to fight Virgil Ortiz. He is on my Golden Boy team. Please make that fight. It's an easy in-house fight. Yeah, I did. I did have a good buzz, man. And I was shocked at the response that people reached out to me on that. Listen, I could just do UFO talk 5 days a week and this channel would explode. Why am I being so lazy? That shit is so easy pickings. Every time I turn on YouTube, it's nothing but UFO talk. And I might as well just talk about UFOs. Shout out to Tony Boswell. I'm sure he's not here. He ain't here to hear no UFO talk. But I did get y'all with that thumbnail, huh? All right, man, we were talking about Charles Conwell. Look, another impressive performance against an undefeated, unknown Argentinian fighter. If there's any country in the world that I always pay attention to when they say undefeated fighter from Argentina, my ears go straight up because everybody knows Marcos Maidana was an unknown, undefeated fighter. Lucas Matisse, Sergio Maravilla Martinez. If there's ever a country that shocks it the most with future world champions, it's Argentina. But this guy that showed up, he might be all right, but he ain't anywhere in the caliber of Charles Conwell. And again, Charles Conwell's struggling at 154 to make a name. He is starting to go up in the rankings, but to get him in the ring, I think he's a boogeyman in that division, straight up. He's just a boogeyman. People are afraid of Charles Conwell. They're not going to easily sign up to fight him. You're going to be forced to fight that guy. I like what I saw. I think he continues to improve. All right, let's get to that main event on the Golden Boy card. Welterweight division, Drew, your boy from Boots Ennis. What's he going to do? Who's he fighting? Because this division, everything seems to evolve around whether or not he's moving up to 154. Will anybody dare unify with Boots Ennis at 147? Conor Benn looks to be getting the fight with Mario Barrios. So Boots Ennis is not going to be fighting Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios wants that big payday. They're talking O2 Arena or some big arena in London. It's being negotiated right now. Emiliano Stanionis, also busy. Brian Norman is the only one that fucking fumbled the bag. You talked about not using the F word. $1.7 million. And Brian Norman walked away from that. Now I think his hand is, now he's talking about, I want that smoke.
He knew he ain't getting that money off again. He's going to take what they give him. But Boots got to make a decision on what he's doing. He's going to have to. He's going to have to stick with it, too. He's going to have to wind up fighting somebody soon. Like, it's going to thing here, but he's not going to get credit for being Teofimo because they're going to say, he forced Teofimo to move up and wait and everything. And, it's Reyes, you want me to fight him? I beat him, and you go, you bung him up and wait. So I don't see the Teofimo fight happening basically because of that.
Yes, most recent thing I heard out of Boots Ennis' camp is that they like to fight with Teo, but it's not the first one that that they definitely want to unify against someone. So I think him and Brian Norman will eventually make their way back to the negotiating table. Again, if that falls apart, Teofimo's ready to jump up to welterweight. He's ready for a big name opponent. Well, I like what I hear out of Teofimo, but I don't know if this fight's going to happen. Carlos, you think this fight will get the nod?
Here's the thing. The fight means more if Teofimo has a belt too. And it makes more sense when it comes to money and everything if he has a belt. He moves up in weight. All he has to do is let the WBO, because he's the WBO junior welterweight champion. Let him know he tends to move up. And what happens? He's automatically the mandatory for Brian Norman.
Yeah, I like that fight. I actually like that fight way better, to be honest, personally. Brian Norman beat the F out of Giovanni Santillan out of San Diego. Giovanni Santillan was having a great run on Top Rank, undefeated. He gets beat up bad. I mean, it was a really bad beating, the kind of beating that takes a lot of you out of you as a fighter, Drew. Giovanni Santillan did the exact same thing to Alexis Rocha, but now Alexis Rocha, he looks back, man. After a few fights, after that savage beating he took from Santillan, he looks like he is a contender, somebody that you could really put in there with any of the champions, and potentially he's going to give you a good fight. He's got losses to Rashidi Ellis. He's got the big loss to Giovanni Santillan, but Giovanni Santillan's got the big loss to Brian Norman. So my question to you is, did you see anything from Raul Corrales, who is a Mexican Olympian, who throws a shitload of punches? Finally, he stepped up to fight somebody with a big name. He comes up short. Let's just be real. Corrales and Rocha both came up short. Fantastic fight. They walk away with the draw. The fans thought it was a fan-friendly affair in, California. It was a great fight. It was a great fight. But do either of these guys make a case to be world title contenders?
I just don't see it. I think Rocha needs that decisive win in this division.
Well, it wasn't over. What's his name with the afro?
Oh shit! Don't mention his name.
He's a Philly fighter.
I don't want. No, he's a Las Vegas fighter now. Woo!
That's not the kind of decisive win. Shout out to Sotelo Media. That's not the decisive. Well, listen, I really did not think that Rocha was going to come up winning this fight, but I thought it was a very good performance by him. And for Corrales, now that he's stepped up to some, big name competition, he came up short, in my opinion, too. I don't know about him being a world title holder. Anything is possible. I mean, both of these guys could improve. But let me know in the chat, guys, what do you guys think? This was a great fight. They're calling it fight of the year type contender. Well, I don't think it's going to win fight of the year, in my opinion. It was a good fight.
There was no decisive winner, but here's the thing. Only way that Rocha becomes a champion in welterweight if nobody's in it. It's just, does he beat Stanionis? No. Does he beat Bruce? No. Does he beat Brian Norman? No. He might be able to beat Barrios, but Barrios is the easiest champion in the division. So if we look at it, I don't know about Rocha, because when you think Rocha's ready to challenge somebody, Rocha takes a bad beating for somebody. So I don't know. It's something that Rocha's going to be on that cringe contender. That's what he's going to end up being.
Yeah, so Joe Media says, hey, good draw result, rematch. Let's make more money. A strong case for rematches in both of the main events this weekend. Obviously, Jaime Munguia is going to probably want to get his lick back and get that a knockout on Surace, or Suras, if his name is pronounced Suras, Bruno Suras. And of course, in this Rocha Corrales fight, it was a great fight. It's in-house. Let them run it back. Let them run it back in 2025. It doesn't look like either of these guys are going to get an opportunity to fight Stanionis, Mario Barrios, or Brian Norman next. That's what kind of sucks about this division at 147. Appreciate everybody that's been here rocking with the Shoeshine all this time. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat. Got some news before we get on to the big rematch Riyadh season. Turki Al-Sheikh bought the Ring magazine. I have not yet subscribed. Have you?
Fuck no.
Has anybody in the chat subscribed and actually is awaiting an actual physical copy? I mean, that's some shit. I know a lot of newspaper. Who gets magazines anymore? I'm glad there's actually a physical magazine. That seems pretty cool, but I've not yet subscribed. Got some other boxing news before we get to Usyk Fury 2. Excuse me, guys. I drank that whole beer. Drew, you weren't here with me on Saturday, but Jack Reese is officially retiring, announced his retirement. One of my favorite referees in the sport of boxing. I think one of the better ones, obviously. He is retiring. And what's really interesting is I saw this on social media. You guys remember the MMA UFC fighter who got his start? He's from the Pacific Northwest. Let's make him picture. Chris Lieben. This guy was a fun MMA fighter, guys. Chris Lieben, one of my favorite. I think he was one of the first stars of the TV show Tough, which UFC built that TV show, you know, where they got amateur MMA fighters. Chris Lieben, he had a good run, man. He officially announced this weekend he's been officiating MMA matches. He is now an official boxing referee. So we may very well be seeing Chris Lieben officiating ESPN cards. Congratulations to him for staying in the fight game, man. And now an official boxing, I think this is the WBO. So he's an official referee now. Good for him, man. Full circle from a combat sports career to being a judge, you know. And I know he had substance abuse issues and whatnot, so this is awesome news for him. So congratulations to Jack Reese. Hope you enjoy your retirement, and congratulations to Chris Lieben, UFC fighter. Other big news, Drew, man, this is some clown shit. Obviously, we're all awaiting the return of Devin Haney. Are we awaiting the return of him? Well, you know what? Ryan Garcia, if you're a Ryan Garcia fanboy, he ain't fighting in December. Not only did Oscar go on and say, hey, you know you're under contract with me and I don't want to sue you. You don't have any permission to be fighting this Japanese fighter in December. That was just like 2-3 weeks ago. They went on with two press conferences. Fight's over. Fight's done. Postponed, whatever. But not for the reason you might think. Not because of Oscar, but I guess Ryan's injured himself in camp. Or maybe, who knows, maybe that's all bullshit. It's all cap. And he talked to Oscar and Oscar convinced him that this was foolish. Just stick around and wait for your official comeback to suspension to be lifted. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, Drew? Fake injury?
It probably is. Like Ryan Garcia is just a joke anyway. But like Devin Haney's a joke. He's a bigger joke. Like he's gotta pay to keep his O anyway. That's a shame. You gotta pay to keep your fucking O. Like, I'm sorry. This is a guy that would do anything to keep his fucking the Haneys would do anything to keep those sons out. Like seriously. When are people gonna realize that it wasn't the PEDs that did him in? It was his fucking lack of fucking defense. And it was his fucking ability not to defend against a simple left hook that got his O taken from him. But it's the Haneys, you know. The Haney's gonna put that money out to keep Devin Haney's O. So what happens next? Somebody seriously kicks his ass next, and he's gonna pay somebody else to keep his O? What a fucking joke.
So the aftermath of the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia match, at the moment, Devin Haney's lawsuit finally is public. Devin Haney is suing Ryan Garcia for assault in court. And Ryan Garcia and his team have finally filed a counter lawsuit for no less than $7.5 million in damages. I don't understand the counter lawsuit. The complaint says that the Haney's lawsuit is for perverted purposes to coerce Ryan Garcia into a rematch and to cause economic harm to Garcia. They filed a 33-page counterclaim, and for $7.5 million. These two are going to eventually rematch, and it's going to be big money. But at the moment,
he'll be at 147 too.
At the moment, Devin Haney, he just wants some of that money back that Ryan Garcia probably won from gambling on himself, fully knowing that he was on Osterian and whatever else cocktail juice he was on. That's some crazy shit. We'll remain to see whether Devin Haney comes back to 140. Everybody's moved on from him. The division is hot right now. I mean, didn't we just get a new 140-pound champion last week?
Yep.
Hitchens, who I think actually, as boring as it would be, hey, I'm not even sure if Devin Haney has the confidence to beat him. He didn't have the confidence to sign a contract against Sandor Martin. I don't think he has the confidence at the moment to sign a contract to fight Hitchens.
Yeah, he's Doug Sandor Martin.
So that's what's going on. All right, massive, massive fight card this weekend, but I looked at the card. Let me just look at this card again real quick, man. Usyk versus Fury, the rematch. We now have Daniel Dubois as one of the champions. This is absolutely not for undisputed. Full card here is Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. Serhii Bohacek, who was going to fight Madrimov, is now fighting Ishmael Davis. Johnny Fisher versus David Allen. Heavyweight Moses Itama versus Dempsey McKean. I like that heavyweight, man. I'm keeping my eye on Itama, a very, very gifted prospect in the heavyweight division. And then you got 3 more fights. Again, I'm not too terribly interested in all these. This fight card is going to happen probably if you're on the West Coast during the daytime this Saturday. So I'll be home on Saturday. Maybe I'll do a post fight if you want to join me. Maybe if anybody wants to join me, man, let's do a post fight maybe after that, because it should be over fairly early for me out here on the West Coast. But more importantly, Drew, what's going to happen if Tyson Fury loses again?
It's retirement. I think that, like, yeah, there's some fights left for him to make money off of, like an Anthony Joshua fight will make him a hell of a lot of money. Like, now with the thing going around that Vladimir Klitschko's come out of retirement, the rematch with Vladimir Klitschko can make money. Like, it's, but it depends. If he loses by knockout, the career's over. His career's definitely over if Usyk knocks him out. But if by decision, you got the slim margins of fights for Fury that he can make a hell of a lot of money doing. But on the other thing with Usyk can probably fight the winner of Dubois versus Parker, or he could fight somebody else. But I look at it like this. Usyk said he's planning on fighting until he's 40. Like, to see, but if Usyk was to beat Fury again, I think this might be it for Usyk. Like, hey, I beat both. I beat Dubois, I beat Joshua twice, and I beat Fury twice. And nobody can question my legacy as an all-time great now. Because he beats Usyk, he beats Tyson Fury again. Usyk is an all-time great heavyweight. Not only he's the greatest cruiserweight of all time, but he can be up there as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Drew, I'm not going to argue with that. I kind of feel the same exact way. I mean, shockingly, you have the potential for Usyk to be in his very short career, just exactly what you said, one of the greatest cruiserweights and heavyweight champions of all time. You didn't expect this guy being a cruiserweight to come up to the heavyweight division, as small as he is, to be so athletic and to really dominate, even dominated Daniel Dubois, dominated just about everybody at heavyweight, and really beat down Tyson Fury at the end of that very first one. It was a good fight. It was very entertaining. I totally anticipate to see Tyson Fury still use some of his old showman-like tactics to do some showboating here and there, but he's going to have to be ready to get serious because he got caught slipping in that first one. I just can't believe. I'm glad you brought up the news, Drew. I put up this picture really quickly. I am in disbelief that Vladimir Klitschko wants to return and is going to officially return at the age of 48. He wants to beat Foreman's record. And Usyk had a lot to say. I can't believe this fight. In 2015, Usyk became the lineal heavyweight champion. 2015, it's been 9 years. If Tyson Fury can win this championship, win 3 belts back, his heavyweight career has come full circle in 9-10 years. But you got an absolute point, Drew. If Vladimir Klitschko is successful in his comeback and Tyson Fury loses or gets his ass beat, Tyson Fury still has 2 opportunities to make a lot more money still. And that's obviously the Anthony Joshua fight is a mega fight in the UK. Whether they both taken serious losses, they both lost to Usyk possibly 2 times each. This fight with Vladimir Klitschko could be a big money grab, a rematch.
Yeah, and depending on what the fight is, it would be a huge money fight for Fury, or if they give Vladimir a crack at Usyk, an all-Ukrainian fight, and everything, and it will be a very intriguing fight, but I don't know. It's a lot of things you could pocket around it that Fury still has options if he loses by decision or makes a good show of himself, but by knockout or this is a one-sided fight, no, he's done. Like, he should just pack up and just call it a career and everything. Like, he is well accomplished. Here's the thing right now. He right now is the second best heavyweight of his era, next to Usyk. And the one that really fucked his legacy up in the long run was Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. And even he still has potential to make massive earnings in the UK against any of these people. Currently, do you have any idea what the odds are for this fight for Saturday's main event?
No, I didn't even look at the odds.
Let me look them up really quick.
But I think the Dubois knockout really fucking damaged AJ's stock a big deal.
All right. Alexander Usyk is only a -150 favorite. This is pretty close. I'm interested in if come Friday when they weigh on the scale, if this will get even tighter. That's a very close spread. A -150 favorite. I see Wile E. Coyote says he's got his money on Usyk unanimous.
I look at it like this. We got to keep track of Fury's weight, how much he'll come and weigh in on this fight. Because if he comes in heavier than the last fight, his strategy is, I'm going to go for a knockout right away. I'm going for knockout. Now, if Fury race comes in the same weight as he comes in last time, or a little bit lighter, is going to be more strategy to this fight. And does it benefit Usyk if he's a fighter if Fury becomes a fighter that wants to go for the knockout right away, or it doesn't benefit him to have a guy that's going to be more strategic during his fight and try to set up something? My opinion, I think both of them will give Usyk an advantage, because if Usyk will have time to start something, and then, but because here's the thing, Usyk is somebody that can adjust midway during a fight like that. See what you're doing, realize it's a strong point, and then say, hey, I got to make an adjustment on you because you're being able to land shots on me that I don't feel comfortable with you landing. So I'm going to make an adjustment on you, and I'm just going to chase you and everything and force you to want to punch me. But Fury, he's got to use his reach. He's got to use his reach. He's got to keep Usyk at bay for this whole fight. It's just how it is with Usyk. If Usyk can get inside you and be able to take those breathers and everything, it's going to be a long day for Fury.
Well, it's time for our official pick. I think it's no secret. Drew, how do you have this fight ending?
I got Alexander Usyk winning by decision. I really think Usyk will adjust to whatever Fury brings out in the first couple rounds. I think the first couple rounds will be close because Fury is going to try to bring out something new or something Usyk hasn't seen from him yet, and see if he can bait Usyk to give his position up, so he knows what to do next and everything. Usyk's got to just make sure in the first couple rounds, he doesn't give his position up, and let Fury and confuse Fury in when is he going to start throwing those power punches, or what's he going to set up with, or how is he going to set up with it. It's how it is on defense when it comes to Usyk as a fighter is, I'm not giving up my territory. You're going to force me. I'm going to force you to fight my fight. And it's up to Fury to put the pressure on him early and start wailing on him. Do I see it? Maybe after a round or two, he might get pressure on Usyk. But I think Usyk will make that adjustment and take it from there.
Now, interesting on DraftKings, Alexander Usyk to win by KO is a plus 900. I'm not sure I'd be willing to put up $900 to win 100. Alexander Usyk to win by majority decision, plus 1,200. Alexander Usyk by unanimous decision is a plus 280. This is, or you're straight, or you could just do your straight up money bet, your money line.
Well, here's the thing: you plus 900 or $20, you'll probably win $100 and some dollars.
Yeah, I'm feeling the Alexander Usyk by split decision or unanimous decision. It's the way I'm going to go. But I don't think Tyson Fury comes up victorious. The guy just doesn't have the discipline, man. He always says, "Oh, this time look, I got a 6-pack developing, so now I'm showing you I'm disciplined." But I mean, it's never consistent. He's just never consistent. He's either great or he's very average, and he got exposed by the MMA UFC fighter.
Well, here's the thing. Fury, if he brings the jab out and everything, when Usyk can go in, you have that split second. You can throw that uppercut underneath and try to reach in on him and everything. Like, he's gonna have to use his reach, and he's gonna have to set it up for an uppercut with Usyk.
Usyk's great at rematches. Look how well he does in rematches, including going back and looking at the Anthony Joshua fights.
Well, here's the thing. After the one round when Joshua had a great round, Usyk adjusted and he sat and moved around more. And that's the problem. The style he was fighting Anthony Joshua, if you're fighting a mover, you're having a big problem fighting somebody that will move and everything, because not only you're in somewhat of a high guard, you have to move with the dude. And you can't get a punch off half the time. You have to wait till you're not moving anymore to throw a punch at him. And while he's doing that, Usyk can just rail on Joshua. So that's part of the main reason why he lost that second fight to Usyk.
Yep. I'm looking at the calendar. I can't believe Christmas is almost here. My whole family, like nine deep, coming from California on the 23rd. Luckily they told me they're coming in late, so I think we're absolutely gonna have a Shoeshine next Monday night at 7:30. If we can just start at 7:30, that'd be great, Drew. But listen, I got a couple things more on the news. Well, actually, let me just cover the Serhii Bohacek is the co-main, and who is he fighting? Ishmael. What's his name here? Ishmael, last minute replacement. Ishmael Davis, 13-1. Big loss to Josh Kelly recently at Wembley Stadium. He lost in September. I thought I recognized his name from that. He's not the winner of the fight, but he's ready to go and he's willing to take that chance. Damn. I expect Serhii Bohacek to win by stoppage. I think he's going to drop this dude, or if not badly bust up the guy's face. But there was some other interesting news. I brought up this guy, David Picasso, earlier, and I even said that he's being talked about in the Inoue fight. And I just came across this because this past weekend, MJ, Akhmadeli, I think his name's Akhmadaliev, he did win in Monte Carlo. He destroyed the guy in 3 rounds. He is a former champion. He has a loss where he lost that belt. He's the only guy who's not gotten a chance at 122 to fight Inoue before Inoue potentially moves up to featherweight. Drew, he fucked up the guy everything he's asking that the WBA has asked of him to get a potential title shot, he has to enforce it. But now here's the thing. Inoue's opponent, Sam Goodman, who he was going to fight, I think, for Christmas or New Year's Eve in Japan. Also, Ryan Garcia was going to fight. I don't think on the same card, but I showed this on Saturday. He busted his eyelid. This fight's not off. It's just postponed. Okay, they're going to give them an extra 30 days for that cut to heal. It won't. It's going to tear back up, but they're going to try to fight somewhere at the end of January. Now, this guy, Akhmadaliev, MJ, he's like, yo, give me my fight with him. I deserve to fight Inoue. Inoue is going to be making his appearance in Las Vegas. This will be his second-time career fight in Las Vegas. It's expected to be a sellout. Like, there is a huge demand of Inoue fans that want to see him in the United States, and that fight is going to happen, according to Top Rank, I think March or very beginning of April. And they ain't got no plans to give that fight to this guy, MJ, even though he merits it. From everything I'm looking at, Allan David Picasso that we just saw fight on the Jaime Munguia undercard, he's getting that nod right here in Vegas. He's going to be getting that fight. That's what's being negotiated against Inoue. I can't wait for that, man. I'm going to go to that fight for sure. I want to see that. Big fan of David Allan Picasso, but I don't think that, Allan David Picasso, I don't think he's ready for Inoue. I don't think anybody's ready for Inoue. But, he wants the money. He's ready. MJ's going to have to keep waiting. Maybe he'll never get the fight. How many more fights do you think Inoue has at 122, Drew?
Maybe 2, 3 at most.
Two. You think he could do 2 more? Well, then he might actually get that. He's going to get the Sam Goodman. He'd get this Picasso fight in Las Vegas early spring, but that may leave that guy out, MJ out, and maybe eventually MJ will be undisputed king at 122 when Inoue leaves. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen in this division. All right, it's been a great show, a short show. I appreciate everybody. We will have one more show before the end of the year. I think that'll be next Christmas. Anything you want to add, Drew, on this week in boxing?
And, I have nothing on the top of my head.
All right, man. Hey, Tailgate Talk is going great. We're going to roll up into week 16 now? Week 16, it's time to start talking about the playoff and the Super Bowl. And, if you guys have been following, Chiefs quarterback, the MRI came back inconclusive, I guess, but they say he should be back by the playoffs. So lucky for the Chiefs, they got one loss. But it's time to start talking about number one seed. Something very important, Drew. I know for your team, it's going to be very important. So we'll talk about that this week on Tailgate Talk. Make sure you are subscribed. It'll either be Wednesday or Thursday of this week. I'm Dave in the 702. To everybody watching us, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Peace out, everybody. Peace.